Americans were slaves. We already know the so-called black men were slaves. We know that. It's thrown in our face every year because they are so powerful as a nation. They throw it in our face because they know us as a people, we don't care. Been standing here?
What they don't learn about us is black.
Okay.
From where we come from.
Right.
I learned that the cross,
Right. All praises. Okay, all praise to the Lord for that. I'm glad you learned it. Let me ask this brother, this guy a question. So what you got for us?
I told him my last name and he couldn't believe it. He wanted me to come over and tell y'all my last name.
Which is what?
Pronounced God be here.
Okay, so what does that mean?
Huh?
Well, what's the point of you telling us your last name?
I'm just saying it's a unique and rare name.
A unique name? Okay. Give me that in Psalms 94:16. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Do you believe the Bible at all?
Yes, I do.
So let me ask you a question. Yeah. Watch this. Is this Christ or the man on the other side, Christ?
I would have to say this.
You have to say this one is Christ, right? So I want to show you something real quick. He said that this is Christ. During this time period, they taught us this Christ, right? But I'm going to show you something real quick. Let's get the description of Christ. Let's actually drop that in Psalm 94:16. Let's get the description of Christ for your oppressor, to listen to you unlearn the BS that we learned in slavery. Read that.
Right.
Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 1.
Bring it out.
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
So this is the revelation of Jesus Christ. Black and Hispanic and Native American man, listen to what Christ actually looks like in the Bible. Read on.
Which God gave unto him
Go ahead.
to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass.
Read on.
And he sent and signified
Chapter
it.
14.
Verse 14. His head and his hairs were white like wool.
So listen to this. The Bible said Christ's head and his hairs were white like wool, right?
Right.
Does this man's head and his hair look like wool at all? Do you have woolly textured hair? Okay, read on. That's one strike.
As white as snow.
Is what?
As white as snow.
Does this image have white hair at all? Does it have woolly hair at all? I'm asking you, brother. No, sir, it don't. Read on.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire.
The whites of Christ's eyes was red with wine. Read on.
And his feet.
And his what?
Feet.
Uh-huh.
Like unto fine brass.
So now the Bible doesn't only describe the texture of Christ's hair, it describes what his complexion looks like. His skin tone, right? It said Christ's complexion was what?
Like unto fine brass.
Christ was like what?
Like unto fine brass.
Last time I checked, you don't look like fine brass. This brother right here does. This is the image that you taught us during this time period when we had chains around our neck.
Right.
This image here was beaten into the black and Hispanic man.
Right.
Beaten into the black and Hispanic man, the Native American man.
Right.
But that's actually not what the Bible says. Read.
And his feet like unto fine brass.
Go ahead.
As if they burned in a furnace.
So not only was it brown, it was brown as if it burned in a furnace. Now I ask you again, now that we read the Bible, does this look like Christ? Is this what the Bible describes? What does it describe? So now we understand that your forefathers and yourself, y'all taught us this, but that's not what Christ looked like. So at the end of the day, God be here, your name really don't mean nothing. At the end of the day, so no. What Christ looked like, we just read it. Go back.
I ain't heard nothing.
You ain't heard nothing? All right, we're going to read it again for you, brother. Go ahead.
Revelation chapter 1 and verse 14.
Go ahead.
His head and his hairs were white like wool.
Christ's head and his hair was white, the same as what?
white like wool, as white as snow.
Read.
And his eyes were as a flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass.
You listen up, brother?
Yeah, I heard that.
You heard that? So what Christ looked like? That's right. Christ looked like us, the black and Hispanic man, according to the scriptures. You understand that?
Right.
Let's deal with something real quick. What you got? Go to Psalm 94:16. Because the God's name is, what is it? God be here? Psalm 94:16. I'm going to show you something. Because at the end of the day, you looking at the gods right here.
That's right.
These are the gods. We are the sons of God.
The book of Psalms, chapter 96 and verse 5.
Listen to this, brother.
For all the gods of the nations are idols.
All the gods of the who?
The nations are idols.
God said all these other gods they're nothing below us. You understand that? Because they ain't no gods. You're looking at the gods right here. You yourself. Guys, Christ said, have I not said ye are gods? That's you, the black and Hispanic man who fell to the earth today because we was beaten to worship this image. Why?
Right.
Because of our own sins. What's up? What you got for me, bro?
He said, you know, he an Israelite.
Uh-huh.
Well, what's the one thing you got to do now that he knows?
That's a good question. First of all, let's kill two birds with one stone. 1 Corinthians 11. Because both of y'all been listening for a minute. And both of y'all in the same era at the same time. So we're going to show y'all some, what's the word I'm looking for? Some correction, some love. 1 Corinthians 11 and verse 5.
This is the book of
Start at verse 3.
This is the book of 1 Corinthians, chapter 11 and verse 3.
Go ahead.
But I would have you know that the head of every man is Christ.
So, brothers, so y'all know what we reading? We reading the order that God set up upon the earth. Okay? Y'all understand? You following? Read on.
And the head of the woman is the man.
Do y'all believe the head of the woman is the man? You believe that? So that means we, as leaders, we supposed to lead our households, correct? Read on.
And the head of Christ is God.
And the head of Christ is the Most High. Read on.
Every man.
Every who?
Every man.
So who are we addressing right now? Every man
Praying or prophesying.
praying or prophesying. Right now, we are in the midst of prophecy. Y'all are listening to the scriptures come out, correct? Go ahead.
Having his head covered.
Having his head what?
Covered.
Uh-huh.
Dishonoreth his head.
So Christ is saying when the scriptures are coming out, if you have something covering your head, you're dishonoring Christ. So what are both of y'all right now doing? What about you, brother? You understand that? So what should you do to honor Christ? Why are you shaking your head? Yes, sir. If you have a hat on your head while the scripture's coming out, you are dishonoring Christ, which is your head. So that means you should take your hand and pull that hat off. Go ahead. We ain't worried about if you bald or your hair look crazy. It don't matter. Because at the end of the day, this is life and death. This is your salvation on the line, what you got to understand. All right? That's a good question. Deuteronomy 4 now. Because you asked the question, what must we do after we know that we're Israel? Well, the brother said, so you didn't ask him that question?
I'm learning.
Still learning. Okay, that's good. Deuteronomy chapter 4.
As you read, I didn't know that.
Okay.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 10 and verse 12.
Go ahead.
And now Israel.
And now who?
Israel.
Now Israel, you black and Hispanics, y'all understand that y'all from the tribe of, I know you from Judah. What tribe you from? Judah. Okay, all praises. That's right. Go ahead.
What doth the Lord thy God require of thee?
So now that y'all know y'all are Judah, what does God require of you? Go ahead.
But to fear the Lord thy God.
To fear his judgments. Read on.
To walk in all his ways.
How do we walk in God's ways? Good. There you go. Law, statutes, and his commandments. You understand that, brother? Go ahead.
And to love him. And to serve the Lord thy
So
God.
you have to love God, which is keeping his commandments, and serve him. Y'all understand that? Read on.
With all thy heart and with all thy soul.
Read on.
To keep the commandments of the Lord.
So now, if we say we understand we Israel, now we have to start keeping God's commandments. Which means, if we don't know them commandments, we have to go what? There you go. Find them out. We have to go seek God's commandments. Today is the Sabbath day. Not only is it the Sabbath day, we celebrated the Lord's Passover at sundown. That's another day that we are supposed to celebrate. That's part of our culture that we have been pulled away from. Do you understand that? Let's get the Sabbath. Let me ask y'all, how do we keep the Sabbath day? Because it's very important. That's the fourth commandment, is it not? Let's get that. Let's get the Sabbath. What do y'all know about the Sabbath?
6 o'clock Friday, sundown, to 6 o'clock Saturday, sundown.
Sun go down around 8:40, but you know how Esau play with the time. So sundown, the sundown is correct. What about you? You understand how to keep the Sabbath? Are we supposed to buy and sell? Because I know y'all came to the store over here. At least you acknowledge it. That at least you acknowledge no work, no buying and selling. But we're going to get it out the scriptures. Let's get Exodus chapter 20, verse 8.
Exodus chapter 20 and verse 8. Remember the Sabbath day.
What did God command us to do?
Remember the Sabbath day.
Hey, brothers and sisters across the street, God said for you to remember the Sabbath day. Because here in the land of our captivity, we have forgotten God's commandments. We have forgotten the Lord's Sabbath days. That's why we celebrating Easter. Some of y'all celebrating Easter in a couple weeks or whenever it is. Celebrating your birthdays. God said remember his Sabbath days. Read on.
To keep it holy.
To do what?
To keep it holy.
God said these days are separate than everything else. Separate than the normal day when you wake up. Which means, read on.
6 days shall thou labor.
God gave us 6 days to work. Today, on his day, he said, cease, put an end to all of that. Read on.
And do all thy work.
Go ahead.
But the seventh day.
But the what?
The seventh day.
The seventh day of the week is Saturday. The week starts on Sunday. If you pull your phone out, everybody has a calendar in their phone. Sunday starts, and then Saturday is ending. God said, I gave you Sunday through Friday before that sun went down to do your buying, to do your selling, to do your whatever it is that you're doing. But he said, on this day, you separate that to give honor unto me. That's what God said. Read.
Is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work.
So you mentioned earlier, brother. Tell me your name again. Tizer, right? Did I say that right? Tizer. So Tizer, you said we're not supposed to buy and sell, correct? That's correct. God said it right here in the scriptures. So today on the Sabbath, we're not supposed to be in 7-Eleven making this white man rich off of us breaking God's laws. We're not supposed to be here.
7-Eleven.
Exactly. 7-Eleven. They keep it 24/7 so you can stay in the midst of sin. Because half the people that I see come up here, what they going there by? Rillos to smoke a blunt. They come out here to meet up with somebody to sell drugs. Right. That's what this spot is. That's why you got a 7-Eleven so for Negroes to buy beer 24/7. Right. To get drunk at 10 o'clock in the morning, 7 o'clock in the morning. Right. What the hell is wrong with our people? We are destroyed. God said do what?
Remember the Sabbath day.
God said remember the Sabbath day. That's today, brothers. Y'all God's chosen people. Did y'all know that? You knew that? As God's chosen people, we have requirements. We are not supposed to be living like everybody else. You understand that? Because are you familiar with the movie Roots? Slavery? Did we sit down at the table with the slave masters? We did? I don't know where you got that from. We wasn't sitting down with no slave masters. We was at the bottom of that table when their feet was on our backs. We was out in the field picking cotton while they was inside in the AC in the summer. Hey, shalom, brother. That's what we was. So guess what? They understood it was a difference between us and them. Unfortunately, we broke God's commandments. That's how we ended up in that situation. But God is telling us here, as God's chosen people, we have to live separate than everybody else. Y'all understand that? Read on.
But the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God.
We're reading about the Sabbath day, by the way, which is today, Saturday. Read on.
In it thou shalt not do any work.
We're not supposed to be working today. If there's no working, there's no buying and selling.
Right.
So if you're doing that, you're breaking God's commandments. Read on.
Thou, nor thy son.
Your son ain't supposed to be breaking God's commandments. His Sabbath, read.
Nor thy daughter.
Your daughter that live in your house.
Thy maidservant.
Read.
Nor thy manservant.
Go ahead.
Nor thy cattle, nor the stranger that is within thy gates.
So God said nobody in your house should be breaking God's commandments. Get Deuteronomy 7:6 real quick. Because I made a statement. You listen, sir? With the head on. All right, we're going to read it anyways. Listen to this, brother.
Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6.
Go ahead.
For thou art a holy people unto the Lord thy God.
Listen up. God said we are a chosen people unto him. Above. Read it. Read on.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself.
God said he chose the black, Hispanics, and Native Americans to be above all people. Do y'all understand that? Brothers and sisters, driving by, you are God's chosen people. We are not the same as these other nations. We are not the same as the Chinese. We are not the same as the so-called white man. We are not the same. God said we are better than them. Read.
Above all people
Read on.
that are upon the face of the earth.
It don't matter where you go to, what country. God said you are better than everybody in that country.
That's right.
That's what we have failed from. We don't understand how great we are as a people. That's why we accept the lust from each other. That's why we sell drugs to one another. That's why we allow our sons and our daughters to dress how they want to dress. That's how we allow our brothers ourselves to go buy beer at 7 o'clock in the morning and be drunk. How is it? What sense does that make? How you doing, sir? Let me ask you a question. Read that sign and find out what tribe you're from. While you listen, I want to ask you a question. How come we are at the bottom of society today? Do you have an answer for me? You're an elder man. How come we are at the bottom of society today? Because of us. I like the answer. You got some more dialogue for that? Not right now. Okay, yes, sir. Okay, give me like 2 minutes. I'm gonna show you something real quick. Give me Hosea 4:6. Because I asked the question after reading that we're God's chosen people and we're above all people. How come we don't live like we're above all people? How come our neighborhoods ain't above all the rest of the neighborhoods? Everywhere you go in the hood, in the ghettos, you see black and Hispanics. All right, look around. For the most part, this is the cleanest the parking lot I've seen. But normally it's trash everywhere. It smells like piss around the corner. You got bums living on the street, brothers everywhere leaving trash all over the place. It's only the black neighborhoods that look like that. But it's not over there if you go to South Lake Carroll. If you go to North Dallas, where the so-called white men, their neighborhoods don't look like that.
Right.
How come? We're going to show you that. Read that.
Hosea chapter 4 verse 6. My people are destroyed.
You listen, what's your name? Who?
Alton.
Alger?
Alton.
Alton, listen to this.
My people are destroyed for lack of knowledge.
Before you go, I want you to get this verse, all right? God said his people are what?
Destroyed.
We have been destroyed. Do you agree? Physically, we have been destroyed, right? When this happened, even still today.
And mentally and emotionally.
Exactly. Physically, how you see that? When you flip on the news, and it's another man shot by a cop, it's another man hung by a group of another white man who ain't got nothing to do with the law. Guess what? Physically, we're destroyed. Mentally, we walk around here calling this image Christ. But nowhere in the Bible do you find a red man with blonde hair and blue eyes in the Bible. You don't find that. Spiritually, we are destroyed because when you look around, who is it that we killing in our neighborhoods? When our brothers and sisters walking around with the gang stuff and shooting each other, what are they doing? They killing themselves.
Right.
We don't condone violence, but we're not killing no other nations.
Right.
We're killing our own people.
Right.
What sense does that make? God is telling us it's because we have been destroyed. How y'all brothers doing? You doing all right? What's your name, sir? Goldie, what's your nationality according to the Bible? You don't know? All praises, we're going to show you today, all right? Find this song. Show me where your father is. Because you are the seed of your father according to the scripture. How you doing, sis? Go and look at this song for me. What solutions?
More than just talking.
More than just talking. That's cool. That's a good question. That's your question, right? Solutions. Okay. So number one, before you do anything, what is your nationality?
We used to scream black power while Heron was pushed. But at the end of the day, nothing's in vain. IUIC has been given a vision. The tents of Judah has risen. Many has attempted the mission. Minor murmuring, omitting, and missing the mark. Just reading that he had the flame of fire in his eyes gave us the spark. We on Paul's mission. We out on the road, purple and gold. From Mexico, Cuba, Haiti, Ghana, Sierra Leone. 144,000 boots banging, concrete crackling. These are how men repented at heart. The scriptures is proof. IUIC, we deliver the truth.